Happy Friday, Happy New Year, everybody. It's Brian Terrian here. Uh, excuse me, a little choked up. And welcome to the Friday Live. The focus of this event is give you a few updates on information, but mostly to answer any questions that you might have, which I see some are coming in already from KK. Um, and I want to take the opportunity to help you understand whatever it is I can share with you in this time that we have, how you can get your benefits faster, how you can keep your benefits, and how you can maximize your benefits. Those are the three key things that we focus on doing here at the Disability Digest. We've been helping people do this since 2006, and we are blessed to have 100. I think we just went over 173,000 members at the Disability Digest. So, anyway, welcome. So, few tips before we get on to the questions at hand. Tips or questions or highlights or things that I want to make sure that you're aware of. Um, I want to talk about information in prior cases, um, check amounts, and why some are different than others. These are questions from the YouTube channel. Um, I want to talk about, there's a lot of questions on CDRs. And then I have a general tip for COVID. I am enjoying my day 5 of quarantine. I tested positive. There's my test. Keep it around, my prop. Um, and I have had the vaccination. I didn't have the booster, as a lot of people like me. Hasn't been that bad. But my tip is for those of you that are out there, whether you've had it or haven't had it, one family to family suggestion that I want to provide you is have a test kit or several on hand, because when you think you need them and you don't have them, it can put you in a scramble. And then you're like, oh, should I go out and get them myself? Because I might be positive. So, how do you handle all that? So, having the test kits around, and you can get them at the local pharmacy. I suggest you call in advance, at least here in Vermont. That's the best way to do it because they might be out, right? Um, so, on that COVID note, I continue to see that COVID is going to influence how you interact with Social Security disability. If you're already approved, it's not going to have any impact on your check. But if you are attempting to get approved, it will definitely have an impact on your check. If you're approved and you get your continuing disability review, which I encourage you to get fully prepared for, because they're happening at a rapid rate. About 20% of disability recipients this year will have a disability review. Now, whether you can survive it or not, but it's hopefully you do, but just be prepared for it. And there's a lot of information that we put out on our YouTube channel with our members, to help you understand what you need to do to protect your check, from doctor's visits to things that you don't want to do to raise the flag. So one question before I start taking some questions, or thing I wanted to go over, is with the check amounts. Like, a common question that we receive here is, my check is $1,100, and Bob next door, he's getting 1,700. Why is he getting 1,700 and I'm only getting what I'm getting? Um, well, your check amount is based on your work history and how much money you've worked primarily in the prior 10 years to stopping work, and not just working, but how much tax you paid. So the higher your income is and the more tax you paid, the more money you have in the Social Security fund to compensate you if you become disabled or take your check at early retirement or at full retirement. So it's an insurance program. Many people, 28% of them that come here, don't even qualify for a check because they either haven't worked, stay-at-home moms, they've been working but not getting paid, or people run their own business, they don't file their taxes, not good. So things like that. So my message to you to relay is, if you know somebody that is out there and maybe not working or not paying their taxes, it's a very dangerous proposition to be uninsured without having the safety net of the Medicare system. It's a great system. I mean, it has its flaws, granted, but it is a way to secure people from being exposed to a major medical event, right? Okay, so I'm going to have a look at some of these questions. This one's from KK. Can one work, earn a monthly limit, continue benefits over 12 months? Well, question is not 100% clear to me, but here's what I believe you're asking is, can one earn up to the limit and keep their benefits over 12 months? So the short answer to that is yes. I'll give you an example. Right now in 2022, the allowed amount that you can earn is $970 a month, right? So if you're working a job, it's $970 a month. If you go to 971, you're over the limit, and that's going to count towards one of your trial work months. So ideally, you want to stay below that. And you can do that forever, for as many months as you like. There's no limit if you're below the allowed amount. Now, if you're working as an independent contractor, like maybe running a website or doing whatever it is that you're doing, pet sitting, sitting around business, just different things that you can do, then that $970 is based on the income in your tax return, which would be the gross amount of your income less your expenses, your traditional expenses, your impairment related work expenses, and what that bottom line number is. And if that number is below $970, you're good, right? Great question. Thanks for it. Okay. How much can I earn a month without losing my benefits? Cindy, I just covered that one for you. All right. Deanna, let's see what we have here. Hello, I have things. Um, okay, selling merchants. Okay, so Deanna, I don't know if it's Deanna Terry or Terry Deanna. It's probably Deanna Terry. Just reading the question. Okay, I'm a 100% veteran. Is there anything your company can do to help me get SSDI? I also saw on the website something being done for disability approval strategy. Can you elaborate? Yeah, so there's no guarantees if you're a 100% disabled vet that you can get approved for disability. I know firsthand, I've worked with many vets through the Gulf Wars. I've been doing it for years. Um, and so the definition of disability is different. And so our strategy to help a veteran is slightly different than it would be with a civilian, and in large part because typically the medical records at the VA are not in line with what they would be for a civilian practice. Um, so here at the Disability Digest, we've helped thousands of people. Like I've seen probably around 22,000 cases go through and get approved in the time that I've been doing this. And we provide our members, when somebody registers and they complete their profile and go through an evaluation and we understand where you're at, we go through a strategy with you to help you apply or advance your case. And the strategy is two-part. One is we have a disability approval course that you can use to start your application or advance your application. Do it all on your own, save all the legal fees, you don't pay any money for it. It's no charge. It's worked fantastic. And a lot of the stories on our YouTube channel are people that have used it. It's put together with industry experts like attorney Carl Osterhow, attorney John Ginsberg, Barb Mountain, who's an ex Social Security employee, but it has lots of success stories from our members here that have shared information and given back to this community, if you will. Things they've learned, like a simple thing from Chris about, he's using a cane, but it wasn't prescribed by his doctor, so it wasn't in the medical records. Social Security didn't know he had, needed assistance walking. Just things like that will strengthen your case. So, part one is the course, takes you all the way through. Second part is some people don't want to use they don't want to do it on their own. So we can talk to you about representation, if that's a fit for if it's a fit to have somebody that we work with in different parts of the country, or if it can be done internally with our legal team here. um, but either way, we give you the tools. You can do it all on your own, or we can we can help you if possible. um, so as far as the nuances, because you're a veteran, there's several things. One is the medical records and how they need to be analyzed because they're from the VA. How your ratings need to be communicated to or leveraged to Social Security. Those are two of the major things that we can do. So I don't know if we're going to make a difference for you, but we'd love to have the opportunity to speak with you about it. Okay, let's see what else. Thanks for the questions coming in. Okay. I'm 61. I'm on SSI. Can I retire and go to my SSI at age 62? Yeah, yeah, for sure. You have to take a look at the check difference. One thing you want to consider, take like a 40% hit if you take it at 62 rather than holding out. And if you're on SSI and you're getting the cash part of it, the 794, um, you have to do kind of a cost benefit analysis to see what's going to make sense for you. Yep. Um, I think does making money below 970. Ah, this is a good question. Happy Ron has a question. It says, does making I think you mean money below the 970 amount potentially influence um, when they review you every 3 years to see if you're still disabled? There isn't anything definite that's out there, any statistics, and there is a budget that shows those that are like on benefits and terminated. Um, but ultimately, it comes down to, this is my opinion, and I based my opinion on my experience, which is a large part of our business here at the Disability Digest is run by our members who have gotten approved. They come back to us to go back to work. And so we know they earn money, uh, they're working, and we haven't had anybody that we've had two people reviewed, which is kind of low actually, but they haven't had any challenges, and it hasn't posed any problems for them. The real focus of this, in my opinion, is they have to have enough evidence to be able to substantiate that you could actually go back and work full time. So if you're earning 969 a month, right? And I don't know what you were doing for work before, but the average check here is $1,350, which means that somebody, people were typically had pretty decent careers. So can they go back to doing that? Could they go back to bookkeeping, 40 hours a week? Could they go back to driving a truck? Probably not, especially if they follow the steps that we have here and what to do to protect yourself in the event of a review. So that's a really good question. All right, let's see. How do you sign up for a CDR review protection? Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. So I believe I understand what you mean. The language is we communicate it slightly different. We have a benefit protection program here at the Disability Digest. It doesn't cost people anything. And how it works is this: um, if you are approved for disability, you're Medicare eligible after 24 payments. And we offer a benefit review. And if we review your benefits, we suggest a Medicare plan, or maybe you're just starting with Medicare that you enroll into, then you're considered a client. This doesn't cost you anything. The Medicare Advantage plans that most people go into have zero premiums, so you're not paying anything monthly. And the work that we do on the Medicare side as an insurance agent, we're paid by insurance companies to do this work, to keep you happy, to keep you on your Medicare plan. Well, in order to do that, you need to be on your disability benefits. The major way people are getting kicked off of disability benefits now is the CDRs. So we have a benefit protection program. If you're a client of ours and we are working with you with Medicare and speaking to you twice a year, reviewing your situation and all of your benefits, not just your Medicare, it's just one piece of it. When you get your continuing disability review, you have access to our legal resources to make it go away. Just like if you were applying for disability and you used a disability representative, whether it was us or somebody else. Um, so for us, we do this. And if you were to go, here's, I'm going to continue on this. If you get a continuing disability review and and you're not successful at the first round and they turn your benefits off, you have two choices. You can either keep your paycheck, keep your check coming, right? Or you can say, all right, stop my check. I'm going to fight this and then I'll get my back benefits. So the challenge that people have, disability recipients, is that whether they're right or wrong, you have to fight it if you want your check back. You have to fight it with getting a monthly payment or not getting a monthly payment. Um, and there's disadvantages to both. If you have your payment, of course, you can pay your bills and continue on, but you don't have any back benefit money to entice an attorney, right, to come get it. Most attorneys don't do this work. Um, they don't want to do it because there's no money in it. It's just not like getting the $6,000 that people typically do in representing it. So anyway, you one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to have that happen. So I'm a little off track here. So in order to be see if you're a candidate for the benefit protection program, if you're a member, you can just reach out, reply to any of the emails, say, listen, I want to talk to you about the a benefit review, look at my benefits, see if I'm a candidate for the benefit protection program. If you're listening out here today and you're not a member yet, love to have you join us. It's no charge. We provide a customized approach to help you either get your benefits, right, or to help you keep them, maximize them, that type of stuff. So, good question. Thanks. Let's see what else is going on here. Thanks for the feedback, Robert. Good to have you out. Okay, Bobby's 6 months waiting at the initial application stage. Um, it's not so much a question here, but I will comment on it. I don't know. It used to be pretty predictable. You'd see a decision within like 5 to 8 months, but still with COVID now, there's a there's delays. There's delays in back to the CDRs. There's delays in the application process. Sometimes it's like California; it's taken up to 12 months in some areas. So just monitor your online account, your My SSA account, and that will help you keep tabs on it. And even if you're at 90% in your initial application, there's still time in there for you to maximize your chances for winning. Like there's some key things that everybody should have in their in their application that's going to get approved. And that's one is a doctor's support. Two is additional evidence from coworkers, family members, video evidence that you should have. If you're having trouble walking or trouble bending or stooping or standing, just simply have somebody take a smartphone video, get it in your case file, because there isn't the human interaction anymore. Those That's gone. We're dealing with all of the information is sent in. It's medical evidence, so they've got to go with that. And maybe it's in your medical evidence, and maybe it's not. But there's nothing like a picture. And if you go to court and have a court date, I don't see that they're going to return to in person. And if they do return to some variation of a traditional court hearing, judge is going to be in one room, and the client, the disability applicant, will be in another, because there's a limited amount of judges. They're older, they're susceptible to COVID. They don't want them getting sick. They can't afford any more personnel hits. So, okay, and take a few more questions here. How does it work if you have the 40 credits but haven't worked X amount in years? Does your SSI go down drastically? Well, if you have 40 credits and you haven't worked in a while, one thing that I would urge you to stop whatever you're doing when you're done this, of course, is go find out what your date last insured is. Because it could be that next month you go from 40 credits to 39 credits, and that's not enough to apply for disability. You need to have the 40 credits. So, in order to get your credits back, you need to return to work. It's probably why you haven't been working. Um, so that's key. Now, here's the other thing that is in this question here. When you stop working, you're putting zeros. Like, if you stopped working 2 years ago, you have zero earnings. Last year, you have zero earnings. This year, if you're not working, you have zero earnings. What happens is the average, those zeros for earnings are getting averaged into your Social Security check amount. So your check amount maybe 3 years ago, before you start hitting it with zeros, was 1,500. And it's going to go down to 1,400. For example, I didn't know exactly, but so point is, a lot of people kind of deliberate on, well, should I file? Should I not file? Do I qualify? I don't know. My doctor hasn't said anything. Blah, 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 blah. They spend too much time over analyzing it. Boom, there you go. Money's gone. Um, so you need to be aware of this and make sure that you take action and start your application before those benefits retire. Now, here's the other thing. There's something that's called the wage freeze. The moment you file, it, it stops your earning history. There's no more zeros averaged in. So if you file today and your check is $1,500, it's going to be $1,500, right? It's a good point. Um, Happy Ron, you have a question here. Is there an advantage to getting A, but there isn't a word after it? I don't know. Um, okay, is there an advantage? All right. Is there an advantage to getting a lawyer in a state where the judge have a high percentage of approval? Well, let's go through this. It's not really how it works. I'm in Vermont, right? I'm a Vermont resident. I don't know where you are, so I'll use this. So let's say that somebody is applying for disability in Vermont, and they want to hire a lawyer. And the lawyer, wherever they hire the lawyer, is going to hear the case is going to be heard in Vermont. It's not based on where the lawyer is, it's based on where the disability applicant is. So the reverse of that would be, should I move to a state where they have very favorable process? I guess that would be the question. And Yeah, listen, if you have a good case and you do everything, you can get it approved. But if you have a bad case, good attorney's not going to help you get it approved. It's just my experience. You need to have the right things in place. Best way to communicate with me. Well, if you're a client, like a Medicare client of ours, or you are somebody that we're helping get approved for disability, I likely speak with you once going through the approval process at least. If you're a Medicare client of ours, then I would speak to you once a year typically. Other than that, if you're not, that's why we have these forums. I don't do free one-on-one consulting. I just am not able to because there's 173,000 people out there. So I provide these forums. You can use this with your membership. You have email support that we get back to. We have Facebook group for those of you that are trying to get approved, Facebook group for those of you that are not approved. So those are the different ways that you can communicate. I actually am thinking I'm going to do more. This is nice, but thinking of doing more Zoom because I can show the screen, like the question about how much money you can make. I don't like to just tell you what it is. I like to show people the regulations so they can't call bullshit on me. It's like on the screen. It's the Social Security law. So anyway, if anybody has feedback, I'd like to hear that. Like, is this format? Is this, if you're new here, is this working for you, or would you rather be in a situation like this? Where we can Zoom, if you've used the Zoom, and I can show you the screen and all that. um, Just put on Medicare, and I'm very confused. I hear you. I'll tell you our Medicare experience. We'd be glad to help you. Unsort it is there's a lot of variables for people, and this is something I want to just give a shout out to everybody. Most people think they got a raise, but they didn't. The 5.9% increase was offset by 6.1% inflation, and Medicare Part B premium went from 148.50 to $170.10. I don't see any raise. But where there's a great opportunity for disability recipients is in the Medicare world. And there's a lot of variables that determine the best setup for you. Where you live, your condition, because there's actually condition specific programs. How many times you're doctoring? If you're doctoring a lot, then there'd be one strategy. If you're not doctoring a lot, could be a little less. You could lean towards a program that would have more incentives in it, like cash back, shopping credits, food cards, stuff like that. Because you're not going to the doctors a lot, so you don't need like a PPO that typically has those. You could go with an HMO or something like that. So, and then your income level, like what's your check amount? Check amount over 1,500. That's going to drive you in one area. Are you paying for your Medicare Part B premium? Many of you out there, I expect, are still paying that 170.10, and you don't know that you can get out of it. So Medicare is confusing, and I'm running tight on time, and I will take a few more questions, but I do want to share this with you. I tried to avoid doing this Medicare work for years. Tried to send our work to other companies, work meaning those that needed assistance. Sent it to, I shouldn't mention their names. We're going to do it anyway. Transition Assist, Benefit Planners, Health Plan One. So we would send our members over, go talk to these guys. They'll help you out. Problem was you get all these complaints back. Put them on the wrong plan, and it's missing doctors and networks, and medications weren't covered. It was a mess. So finally, like 3 years ago, I said, screw it. I'm going to go through the insurance process, test, get a license, learn it, do all that. So now here we have myself, I'm an agent. We also have other agents that work here, and it's all we do. I mean, the typical person here that is on Medicare is a disability recipient that has, 3 doctor's visits a month. They're on 10 medications. They have an average check of $1,350. And they have all of these different variables that a traditional insurance agent working at a large big box Medicare company, they don't understand. They don't understand that there's all of the little nuances. So I'm not saying we get everything right, but the fact that we live this every day, um, and we understand it, gives us an advantage to help people get on the right plan and keep them on the right plan because they change every year. So if you'd like some help to unsort it or better understand it, definitely you can do it all, without speaking to us. But by following the information we put out, we've got interviews with experts and all that, and you can piecemeal it all together. But if you'd like it streamlined and save time, we can provide us with some basic information if you're a member, or join us as a member, and we'll help you out with it. um, all right. So let's see. Confused. I live in California, have a phone hearing that's in another state. All right. I think my encouragement to people is this whole geography thing, like I want to get a local person to do this, or I want my judge to be local. I see the whole process just moving away from that. Social Security is one regulation. It's the same in every state. And it used to be that I want to get somebody local because they know that judge and they've been in front of them, 5 times a month for the last 10 years. And there's some value in that. I don't see that anymore. So I would not be concerned about that. I would work on what you can control. We have a pre hearing preparation course at the Disability Digest. One of the key components of it, just ask us for it if you don't have it already, is it goes through the questions that are asked at a hearing. Back up a bit, what we did is we listened to hearings, a bunch of them, and we extracted the questions that judges ask, and they're pretty much the same. Boiled them down into the top questions, and we have those in a lesson so that you can listen to them, and you can prepare, and you can prepare your answers. That's the most important thing that you can do. If you have an attorney, I think that's working with you. They should be going through this with you. Maybe they already have. But it'd be I guess a second opinion, different opinion. Okay, good. All right, folks, listen, I am looking at my timer here and I have something in 2 minutes. So this has been a blast. I want to thank you for coming out here. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm in hopes that the information that I've shared with you and the work that we do here makes at least some type of a difference to make it easier for you to get approved faster, maximize your benefits. We're excited to release some new information for primarily in ways to save money on healthcare costs and medications. We have that coming up with 2 companies that we've partnered with. So if you're new here, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the bell so you're going to hear a ding every time a new message comes out. Um, and of course, again, if you'd like a personalized approach to getting your benefits, keeping them, or maximizing them, then join us as a member. Now, if you're a member and maybe you haven't contacted us in a while, things always change. So reach back out, say, listen, I'd like to have an evaluation again. Have you look at my benefits, see what's going on. Okay. So listen, once again, everybody, Happy New Year. Please stay safe out there. It's kind of a crazy time with what's going on, but we'll get through it. Until the next time, everybody, be well. Make it a great day.